Well, I've been working on this thing all day. Got all the coulters back on. Got the bearing packed and everything on the front coulter. That's done. Got all the cylinders tore off. Got the accumulator off. It's there. Got all the piping off of it. Got all these cotter pins swapped out for roll pins, so that's taken care of. And while I was at it, if you remember, on this lift arm, they had this spacer block outboard of it, and it was all like floppy jawed and just doing whatever it wanted to out here. So I turned up some bushings and got everything put back together in the right order, and I actually got it where it I couldn't tell if the original bushings, because it had bushings in it, I couldn't tell if they were frozen in the arm with rust, or if they were originally pressed in here and it just pivoted on the bolt. But I went the other way, and I made them where they were a snug fit in here, but I made them a little extra long so that I could draw the bolt down tight, so everything in here is tight, and then the arm is actually pivoting on the bushings. So all that's nice and tight now. That made a big difference. Up here you can't hardly move it. Still gotta fix this one though, because she's all just doing whatever she wants. That might be a little bit of an undertaking, but that can come later. And this plow had to have pulled harder than shit, because I don't, you see that hole right there? According to the book, there should be another hole in the beam that lines up with, and you run a pin through it, and that sets the bottom rigid so that it's set where it needs to be, and you get the cylinder adjusted and get the cylinder pinned in, and you drive the pin back out and your bottom is set. Well, that hole, that's the back of the beam, if you can see my finger there, right? Every single bottom on this thing is rocked back like this, so it just had to be sucking harder than hell. Because I got the cylinders out, I got most of the oil out, and then I just brought them out here to let them finish draining. All of these eyelets, except for the two front cylinders, and even these were in too far, but all these eyelets are running all the way to the back of the threads and just jammed on the end of the rod. They're too damn short. Even with the cylinder extended all the way, they're too short, so it never actually lets the bottom reset all the way. That just had to pull harder than hell. It's probably why he had the gauge wheel on it. He couldn't figure out why the damn thing kept trying to suck itself to China. So, and two of the rods were bent because I couldn't get two of the cylinders to retract all the way. So he bent two rods, and because all the bottoms, I think they're froze. I can't really get them to move. I had to the pins weren't frozen there, but there was so much tension pulled on them cylinders from those bottoms trying to get themselves leveled out. I had to drive the top pin out, and then the bottom pin I could just pull them out by hand. And those cylinders, I kind of want to tear one apart just to see how bad the ends tore up, but I gotta believe the snap rings that hold them cylinders together are just about cutting too, because that's a lot of pressure. And when I get everything freed up, I'd be curious to know if this pin comes, or if this bolt comes down and bucks against the beam, because they got to have some sort of hard bottom stop somewhere. They can't just be relying on the cylinder to set, because that just seems like it'd be hard on the cylinder. But we'll find out. But I got her up on stilts right now because those things are froze. I'm just going to drive the bolts out and knock them off and wire brush the rust off and grease them and stick them back in. And I'd assume the bolts have got to come out anyway because they're cross drilled for a grease hole, and I'd be willing to bet that all the grease in there is petrified and you'll never push grease through them anyhow. So I'm going to drop all those off, get them cleaned up, get them freed up, and then tomorrow go through and put the hydraulic system back together on this thing. So anyway, figure out what wrenches I need and go. Well, I just about shit a brick. I got the nut off and I pulled the bolt out by hand. I figured sure as hell it'd be stuck in there. And it's definitely rusted because she's just hanging there by a wing and a prayer now. So if I can find some place to sit you guys, I'll do this. I got it to move a little bit. She's going. Yep. There's not very much left of that landside to hit on. Oh, she's moving. I really don't want to have to take every bolt in this damn thing loose. That would suck. Now we're getting somewhere. Just a little crusty. And by the way, I sound a lot worse than I am. I feel fine, but my throat's scratchy because my nose has been running. Right, now it's got to go backwards. Oh yeah. How about that? And there's the hole that's supposed to line up with that pin that wasn't even close. So, all I gotta do is wire brush that. That's actually not that crusty in there, that'll probably be fine. But wire brush that. Clean the bolt up, probably pull the grease zerk out. Get the shit out of it. Make sure it'll take grease. Slap her back together. Really nothing to it. These beams are easy because there's nothing going on with the springs and trip presets and all that fancy shit like the cushion trip's got. Yeah, see what the old motherfucky's made of. Run a 4-inch cut wheel on there. That's even quite a load for a 4-inch corded grinder. I might go in and hit that with a flasher wheel. That shit's kind of raised. Cleans up good though. Alright. Got that all cleaned up. Slathered a bunch of grease on there. Now the fun part is going to be getting the son of a bitch back up there. Guess there's not really a good way to get a hold of it. Hello? It's really damn close getting up there on the point. Here. Damn it. This is where another set of hands would be ideal. Set a 4x4 down under the tip of the point like that. See if I can't leverage it up. Oh, hell yeah. Right there. Maybe. Oh, there we got it. Perfect. Well, that's a little more how it's supposed to work. And I'm wondering, because that pinhole is right there, but it comes down and bucks against the frame right there, and that looks awful damn level. But I don't know, have to get in the book again and see what all they got going on. But anyhow, just got to do that 4 more times. But I guess so that I got something to put up today, we're going to cut this one off here. And I might do one more of these yet tonight and finish the rest of them in the morning and get the hydraulic, get all the cylinders and everything put back on. So I guess that does it for this one. We'll catch y'all on the next one. It's a nice shorty for today.